I'm here with Raquel Ortiz, co-producer, director of the Borinqueneers. Why don't we delve in a little bit to what the Borinqueneers is about, and then we'll...
It's a story of this regiment that is all Puerto Rican, that has served in every single war that the United States has ever waged, from World War I through to the present. The difference is that they were all one regiment, all Puerto Ricans, up until the Korean War. After the Korean War, they were desegregated as an all Puerto Rican unit, but the name of the 65th remains, the name of the regiment, and there are Latinos in it, but there are all kinds of, other races and cultures and backgrounds. And the story is told from the perspective of soldiers, mostly Puerto Ricans who lived the experience of being in the Borinqueneers, but also of being in the Korean War, where there was, in fact, they had this great trajectory of being wonderful soldiers and having pride in being, in the military and fighting for what they consider their adopted country. So, I'm Puerto Rican, but I'm an American too, so it's my right to do that, and great pride in being soldiers. But then in the Korean War, they took a turn and there was a court-martial because some of them stepped away from the situation, and that's part of the story.
We are watching the first-time showing of this on television on WGBH at Camino Real Colombian restaurant in Austin. Raquel, tell me how you got involved with this very interesting project.
Well, it's a very interesting story, but the producer, executive producer, and director of the program is a woman named Noemi Figueroa Sule, a Puerto Rican. And I had met her at a Puerto Rican producers conference, and we had a nice chat. She told me that she was making her first film. And then about a year later, I was on vacation in my girlfriend's house, and she called me up and she says to me, "I have to have your name." And I said, "What do you mean?" "I need your name because I'm submitting a proposal, and if I don't have a name of someone who's a seasoned producer, because this is her first film, I won't be able to submit it and I probably won't get funded." And so I said, "Okay, well, I'll give you my name for now. You have to send me a copy of the proposal, and then we'll talk some more." And that's how it started. And then we talked, and she asked me to be a consultant, which I was for a little while, but the film kept dragging on, and so finally she said, "You're my co-producer director."
So what were some of the challenges that you guys encountered while trying to get this movie made?
Well, I think there were basically three challenges. The main challenge that every producer faces, of course, is raising funds for the project. And that's why it took so long. And in spite of the fact that a lot of the veterans, they would send us their little $10 or $50 checks, and we had a lot of support from the community, local communities across, Puerto Rico and all up the eastern coast. But going to foundations and going to other funding entities makes it really, really hard. And one of the reasons why it was hard, which is the second reason, is because a lot of people wanted us to make the film their way instead of our way. They wanted us to focus on a particular negative aspect of the story instead of being able to tell the whole story. And we wanted to tell the whole story. And the third part is that it's very, very hard to track down all these people because they're very elderly and they're not easy to reach and talk to, and furthermore, they're not necessarily comfortable in front of the camera. Noemi interviewed on the phone 300 veterans, and then she interviewed in person 40 veterans, of which we have about 22 in the film. A lot of research to find the stock footage, to find the stills, and to find the soldiers. So that's the reason it took so long.
How long did it actually take?
Well, I'd say 9 years.
9 years?
Yeah. So she keeps saying that it's like, she's given birth. Because, 1 year for every month kind of thing.
And you were like the Lamaze coach.
Right, exactly. I was the Lamaze coach, and I was with her 8 of those years.
Wow, yeah. That's incredible.
Absolutely.
Now tell me about some of the Latinos that were in the film, the gentleman that narrated, and additionally the people that were in the Latinos that also helped produce.
Well, the producer again is Noemi Figueroa Sule, and she's Puerto Rican. I'm Puerto Rican. I'm her co-producer. Our editor is Miguel Picar, who is actually from Boston. He used to live in Brookline, and he used to work at WGBH. Patricia Garcia Rios is a Spanish woman who actually we called her up one day and said to her, "We need help with this script. You got to help us tighten it. We're so close to it, we can't see it." So she became a consulting producer. Our associate producer, Puerto Rican, he's from New Jersey. Our 2 fundraisers are Puerto Ricans. Of course, most of the people in the film are Puerto Rican, including the 2 main historians, which is Colonel Villahermosa, who is writing a book about the Borinqueneers, and then Professor Silvia Curbelo from La Universidad de Puerto Rico. So it was a predominantly Latino production film. And by the way, it's a military story told by 3 women.
And how did you end up securing Hector Elizondo to narrate?
That was almost easy because he loved the story, and he was in the military himself. Because remember, this is a regiment that comes from one place, which is unheard of. They're all from an island that's 100 miles long by 35 miles wide. So sometimes they're cousins, and they're brothers, and they're friends. So that's very, very different than any other kind of military regiment that you serve in, where you become buddies, but you all come from, you know, Arkansas and Arizona and New York and Texas and whatever. So he loved the story, and he was wonderful to work with. We sent him the script in advance. He had his own ideas about how he wanted to interpret them. He says, but I'll let you direct me. And he was great to work with and very generous.
Was he easy to direct?
Very easy to direct because he's an actor, you know, and he's a humble person. He's, you know, he was fun and full of himself, and he knows what his value is and what he brings to the product. You know, he did it for scale. Okay, so for him it was a labor of love, like it was for Noemi and for me. But he was easy to direct because he's a professional, you know. And he often would say to me, "Did you like that?" "Yes, I did." He says, "Let me give you another version just in case." And if I asked him to do it 7 or 8 times, he would do it, although he hardly had to. I wanted to tell you that we have two versions. We have a Spanish and an English version. We have the broadcast version, which is really a 60-minute film. But then we have the 90-minute film where lots of people get to speak for longer, and there's more music in it, and they get to breathe. And all of them can, you know, be ordered online. Okay,
and what is that website?
The website is the www.borinqueneers.com. And Borinqueneers is BORINQUEENERS.
Okay, well, hopefully our viewers will check out the website and purchase copies for their own use. And this is the video right here. Very nice picture of the Borinqueneers. And additionally, Raquel Ortiz is also an author and a filmmaker in her own right. We've interviewed her in the past about her fabulous documentary, Mi Puerto Rico, and we also reviewed her very good book about her life, The Silk Purse. And where can our viewers find those things?
Well, you can find my book, The Silk Purse, on Borders.com or Amazon.com or Exlibris.com, which is the company through which I published the book. And you can find Mi Puerto Rico if you go to my webpage, which is www.raquelortizproductions.com. You go to my bio page, and you look for Mi Puerto Rico, and you'll find out how to get it.
So you know that Boston Latino TV supports you and everything you do, and our viewers do as well. I'm Evelyn Reyes, and this is Boston Latino. Thank you, Raquel.
Thank you.
Oigan mi gente, lo más grande de este mundo siempre me hacen sentir un orgullo profundo.